If you had to guess what this big round thing is behind me, what would you say it is? A big pump mechanism? Maybe a turbine meant to drive a generator? It's way more simple than that. This is a 100-year-old water valve off of Arrowrock Dam on the Boise River in Idaho. As dams got bigger and bigger in the early part of the 20th century, the size of the valves needed to be able to regulate the water just got larger. And with ever-increasing amounts of pressure, engineers had to get more and more creative with how to regulate the force of that water. A simple on-off flapper valve doesn't work particularly well because the pressure of the water will actually get it stuck in place. There's also the issue of how to move the valve if you don't have access to electricity, as was the case 100 years ago with this dam. This mechanism is called the Ensign Valve. The more updated version is called a needle valve because of this thing right here. The valve mechanism is conical in shape and presses against the flange to block the water. When the valve piston retracts, it allows water to slide in evenly around all 360 degrees. The piston mechanism was moved back and forth by using pressurized water from the reservoir behind the dam. This ensured that the gate could be moved mechanically without having to rely on outside electricity. Again, this was 100 years ago. 10 of these old needle valves were installed here on Arrowrock Dam on the upstream face of the dam, which makes perfect sense if you want the pressure of the water to hold the mechanism in place. But it's kind of difficult to do any maintenance on the valves down the road. Fast forward many decades and all those valves have long since been replaced, or at least left in the stuck open position. Water releases through Arrowrock Dam are now regulated by a series of clamshell gates on the downstream end of the pipes. Even though they're simple by today's standards, valves like this were a game changer back in 1915. In places like Boise, Idaho, being able to turn on and off the force of the river at will is the difference between the city existing or not.